Oh, yeah.
We're on page
Not
54.
familiar now. Not familiar.
Generosity. Rabbeinu Avraham ben Rambam was telling us many things about generosity. But now he's going to share with us a kind of generosity that does not involve money. And not gifts either, in the physical sense of the word. Vehanedivut hamehulelet. Proper generosity, or the praiseworthy generosity. Enarat b'mamon u'miknat kesef bilvad. Doesn't only include money and gifts of money or tangible objects. אלא גם בכוח השפעתו וחוכמתו ואמונתו של אדם. But also with the strength of influence, wisdom, belief of every person. He's going to explain these three kinds of generosities. The first, והנדיבות בכוח השפעתו היא, generosity with one's influence is שיהיה האדם מיטיב ממה שחננו אדוני יתעלה, that a person should do good with that which Hashem has gifted him, למי שצריך לטובתו, for whoever needs your help. You know, there's a thing in the Jewish world, and that is that we're a little unprofessional. What do I mean by unprofessional? There are many ways to understand what I just said. But I think about it in the context of a Bet Knesset. We struggle, and I'll tell you why we struggle. Every one of us has a profession. Something that we do, that someone else has use for. There are obvious ways to make use of our professions. We do them for a livelihood, for a parnasah. We're able to pay our bills, feed our families, take care of our spouses. There are times where we're called upon, in a communal setting, to use our wisdom without appointments and finances and the proper protocol that would. You know, there's once a doctor told me he hates coming to shul because he doesn't like to give medical advice. Now that's I understand. I'm sure that you know, every Jew and their grandmother and they want to know. At the end of the day, Kadosh Baruch Hu, I'm not talking about for your insurance company. Your insurance company is a different story. I don't know, malpractice and giving advice. No, not what I'm talking about. Kadosh Baruch Hu gave you a gift, and your gift is to give to other people. And that means that if someone comes to ask you a question, and you could do tzedakah with an answer by giving something, that's your tzedakah. Why is that any different than the philanthropist who writes out $1,000 check?
It really will depend, though, on the intention of the receiver, which may be a whole other section of this book, which is a person who really needs help and advice, and Eitzah is one thing. Another person, though, well, I'm not going to make it a point with this guy. I can just ask him now and save myself.
Very good. You hear what Zev is saying. There are people who are manipulative in their nature. They like to take people for granted.
Because in today, medicine is largely a marketplace. You know, okay, Kaiser's sending me over here to see this guy for 15 minutes, and you know, I'm going to have to co-pay this. You know, it's like everyone looks at it in terms of economics rather than a one-on-one, you know, personal relationship. It'd be like hiring like a rabbi. It's like, okay, there's a rabbi over here who's convening me in the neighborhood. I'm gonna, you know, ask him on Shabbat if I can, rather than, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
You can have that.
And you have this, by the way, in every field. And I mentioned medicine because this Jewish doctor complained to me once. But I'm talking about any field. There's something that you can give to you. You know, we don't all have money to readily hand out to other people. We do what we do. But sometimes what we can give as tzedakah is ourselves.
Right.
And Hashem only gave me these gifts to be able to help other people. And you don't have to be so afraid of being taken advantage of. And if you are, then that person you deal with. But it's conducive to a society where people are willing to give not just of their bank accounts, but also of themselves. It's very important. And this is all across the spectrum. You know, there are people who are great cooks. And they do a lot of tzedakah, but there are always those people who make the meals for other people. You know, there's always a few people who do it. Those people are special people. and they're not holding up society any less than the person who writes out the checks. And we have in our mind a warped understanding of what is philanthropy, what is giving of ourselves. You know, when I had to move my office, I had a few guys that just came and helped. Somebody who had a company, who had a pickup truck, who had 2 workers. They just came in the middle of the night and just in the middle of the day and just took things out. That is a huge chesed that every single day I'm reminded of. We put together this big knesset. Everyone did something here. Some of you was sidurim, some was chumashim, some of you was chairs, some was the bima, some was kodesh. Everyone did something. Some of you it's the kiddush. Everyone does something. Making the minyan is a chesed. You have a body. I know it sounds funny. We're not using you for your body, but you have a body that you can donate to the minyan. That's a chesed. Don't let the world tell you that chesed only involves your money. There's a lot more to give. A lot more to give. And that's why Elisha says, as he says here, like we find in the books of the prophets, b'ma'amar Elisha, like Elisha says in the book of Melachim, Hayesh ledaber lach el hamelech o el sa'ar hatzava? Should I speak on your behalf to the king of the general? I'll explain. First off, do you notice that the Rabbeinu Avraham, in general, makes a lot more use of the Tanakh than we do? Whereas we're always quoting the Rambam or quoting the Talmud, he doesn't have the Rambam to quote, so he's always quoting the prophets. It's an interesting relationship, much closer to the source. Sometimes I don't have anything aside from influence. Meaning, I work at a certain company and there's another person who's looking for a job. And I'm able to put in a good word to that company for them. That's what you're called upon at that moment in time to do. That is your tzedakah. That is your generosity. How many times do people call me? I need a letter of recommendation. I need someone says I need to make aliyah. I need a letter that I'm Jewish. I don't have money to hand out to every person who knocks at my door. I have a letter. I have a letterhead. I have a content. I have a stamp, a rabbi stamp. And sometimes they need a rabbi to write a letter. Believe it or not, and I'm able to give through that. Baruch Hashem, everyone has the ability to refer someone to. Just when you say, I have a friend who has a business that I know you need, go to him and tell him I sent you. That's also a chesed. Just today, my wife got a flat tire in New York, and a rental car, and they came to replace. The rental car sent a tow truck, whatever, to replace the wheel,
They do this with
and then told her, this wheel could only drive 40 miles.
Or the donut wheel.
The donut wheel. But the car rental place, the nearest branch is 75 miles away.
Ooh.
So what you're supposed to do? I don't know exactly protocol. I don't know exactly what you're supposed to do in that situation. But one of her, she needs to get to school tomorrow morning. So there's a car mechanic in town that her brother knows. But listen, I'm sending Mendel to your house or Moshe to your house. He shows up to the house and he says, don't worry about it. He replaced the tire. He charged her a few dollars. I'm not telling you nothing even big. A few dollars. Replaced her tire. He wasn't able to do it today because today he has another call. He says tomorrow he opens up his garage at 9 a.m. He finishes praying at 7:30. He's going to come somewhere between 7:30 and 9 to replace the tire in her driveway so she doesn't have to get towed to his shop. The person who referred him did a chesed. The person he's actually changing the tire, even if he's charging money to cover his own costs, he doesn't have to lose to do a chesed. He's doing a chesed. There's so many ways to do chesed. Sometimes it's I can put in a good word for you. I have connections somewhere. We're all about connections, you know that. Protektia, they call it in Hebrew. Sometimes it helps. Undivut chokhmato, what does it mean to be generous with my wisdom? It's in order to teach wisdom to one who wants it. And also is worthy to learn it. Notice he says 2 things. Somebody who wants wisdom has to come with 2 character traits. What are they? The first is a desire to learn, and the second?
To desire to teach it.
The person who's receiving. To be worthy of learning it. Yeah. If someone comes and says, I want to be the Kohen Gadol. Good. That means you want to learn Torah, but maybe I'll direct you to a different area of studying Torah. A person has to know, what am I worthy of learning? What am I... There's all kinds of things like this. But a person should know, to be a receiver, you have to, 1, be willing to, and 2, I have a hard time when you teach in schools, you should know. Schools are a very difficult place to teach, and the reason is because not everyone wants to be there. When you give a class at 9 o'clock at night, the only people who are here are those who want to be here. So the people who come and they are texting on their cell phone or they're walking to the bathroom breaks and they don't come to classes now because they don't need to be here. It's a very different style of learning, and therefore you're only with people who want to learn. And how do you discover who's worthy for it? Whoever sticks around long enough for those people who are worthy for it. If you can do this twice a week, you're rawi lakach, you're fitting for it.
But even if he comes learn for 10 minutes, it's worth it.
Yeah, I'm not taking away from him, but here we're talking about an ideal student. K'mo shebi'aru lanu ba'alei hamasoret, like our rabbis told us in the book of Devarim. This is very important. V'shinantam levanecha, and you should teach your sons. That's what it says in the Shema, right? Say our rabbis, what does it mean, banecha, your children? Elu talmidecha, these are your students. You can have a student who's closer to you, not necessarily on a personal, emotional level, but on a wisdom level, closer to you than your son. Your son has his own path, his own head. The one who's coming to learn from you is the one who wants to learn from you. V'amru, and our rabbis say in the Talmud, B'viu pasuk, when they're explaining the verse, Re'eh limadati etchem, see, I have taught you. Our rabbis say, Ma ani lamati b'chinam, just like I taught you for free, without payment. Afatem lamadatem mimeni b'chinam. So too, you learn from me for free. And also when you teach the future generations, teach them without charging a fee. From here we learn that it is forbidden, according to the Torah, to teach Torah and charge someone money for it. This opens up a whole can of worms.
Yeah.
What about Jewish education? What about bar mitzvah teachers? What about private classes? What about? I can't in one day get into all the halachic details that go around this discussion. Suffice to say that the simplest truth is that, this is the ideal. The ideal is that, let's say in a community, you would have somebody who is supported by the community, and therefore is able to give freely of his time to the community because he has no other concerns. That's the ideal situation. The person doesn't have to worry. He's not teaching for a fee. This is the one that's in the community appointed for such. Or
there are communities like that where, it's almost like a Zivil and Issachar relationship.
yes.
Someone who works, they say, I will give a portion of what I make so you could learn and teach.
Well, here we're not, but not necessarily learning from me. He's teaching me. I mean, I'm going to get a reward. Like I told you in Syria, that there are many Jews that would have an extra house in their backyard, and they would have a Talmid Chacham and his family live there, and they would pay their expenses, everything, from beginning to end. But the condition was that the children of the owner of the house would have classes of Torah, learn how to cook in the kitchen from the wife, and the halachot, the proper laws of kashrut. And it was a full expense, like two families living together, one that took care of one physically, and one that took care of the other one spiritually. This was a special relationship, like what Zev was pointing out. Here we're saying, and you should know, here's the question. The question is, what about a third grade teacher? Yeah, he's teaching in a cheder, he's teaching in school. How does he have the right to get paid? So the answer is, first off, he doesn't have to teach your kids. He can teach his own kids. The fact that he's taking on your kids, he's already doing you a favor. He doesn't have to be a teacher. He could have been a doctor, a lawyer, an accountant. He chose to go into this field to help you out. It's only proper that you would help him out. And last but not least, some call this, Rav Moshe Feinstein has a term called schar batala, babysitting fee. He's not charging you for teaching your kid. That part he would do for free if your child would listen to him. He's charging you for the discipline, for the be quiet, sitting in your chair, showing me your homework, grading your papers. He's charging you for the things he's allowed to charge you for. But the Maaseh, you see here that we're talking about a generosity of wisdom. Those who want to learn should never in their life feel that they must pay a fee in order to learn. I think one of the first times I came to San Diego as a rabbi in a Beth Knesset, and someone asked me if I could come speak with them, and at the end they started writing out a check. I said, what are you writing out a check for? Oh, because we took up half an hour of your time. I said, but that's why I have half an hour of my time, is to sit down with you. No, it doesn't. No, I never go to a rabbi and not write a check. I say, no, but I don't want a check. And he tells me, no, that's what you're supposed to say. And I'm like, I'm trying to tell you the truth. The truth is I'm not here for your check. Arav Peretz always taught us that if you want to know who's a fake rabbi, who's a fake Mekubal. You have a Kabbalist come to town, a Rebbe come to
Check the
town.
wallet.
He said if he charges you money to see him.
In installments. I told
If,
you about that one
in
time.
installments.
Remember the person, this woman wanted a bracha for childbirth, and the teacher said, "I'll give you the bracha if you write me 12 months of $36 checks, right now." Wrote
It's
the
the
checks, got the bracha.
Prepaid.
We
this
talked
is
about the professionalism.
Got
of
the bracha, but
Judaism
not
at
the baby.
beginning.
Yes,
Don't do the
yes. Well, here we have. Well, did she have a baby, or is that a good
Yeah.
question?
No.
No. Well, I
She
guess
adopted one. Actually, she asked for her money back.
one of the checks bounced. That's the. So here's the truth is that in the Kabbalistic circles there is this concept of in order to receive a blessing I have to make a vessel, and the vessel is by giving money to a tzaddik. I'm not dealing with Hasidic and Kabbalistic circles now. I'm dealing with Pshat and Judaism. Pshat is that a Talmid Chacham's obligation is to teach his community, to teach his students, to teach his, and it's not done in order to get something back. Now, Pshat said, you want to see a Mikubal that's real? Make sure he doesn't charge you money. Look at the tzaddik. Yeah, anyone who here was by the Lubavitcher Rebbe?
He gave you money.
He gave you money, right? Didn't charge you money. He gave you money.
We've got plenty of
Anybody here
those.
was ever by Rav Moshe Feinstein? Rav Moshe Feinstein would spend hours helping people with halachic dilemmas. Never, Chacham Ovadia. I was by Chacham Ovadia. Charges money to speak to him. Chamar Chadiel.
You didn't pay for that photo?
I didn't pay for that photo. They didn't charge me to exit, the photo rights.
Who supports them, like Rabbi?
Oh, interesting. So here's the.
How do
There
you get
must be some kind of dynamic of we need this person and therefore we appreciate him. It's not saying he can't make money. It's that it's not a tit for tat. It's not making an appointment and this appointment costs $100 an hour. And it's not. That's not Torah. Is not taught that way. It cannot be taught that way.
Is that what they mean, making a spade out of the Torah for making?
Yeah, exactly. Yes, this is not the way
Talks
Torah is
about
supposed to
that.
work. The question is, if you do it, is it an issur? Is it actually a prohibition? That's already an argument. But it's not how it's supposed to be. And the last kind of generosity, v'handivut be'emunato, generosity of religion, of faith, hishimshoch elav et harechokim min ha'emunah, is in order to attract those who have strayed from the faith of Hashem. V'yasim lev posh'im, and to bring back the rebellious. Notice the words that he uses. He doesn't call them evil people. He doesn't call them bad people. It says those who are far away from Emunah and those who are rebellious. Their spirit is one of rebellion. They're not bad people. They're just, this is what they're after.
Which you could be a halachically correct person and be rebellious.
Absolutely. Of course.
Questioning.
Of course.
It's a specific type of rebelliousness.
Behochicho otam elavonotehem. He should reprove them for their sins. And the hochicho is an interesting, showing that he explains. Ulehodiam et kalkalatam. To show them their loss by living such a lifestyle. Meaning, I truly believe that if a person truly has a relationship that is founded in Judaism and Torah and mitzvot, not one that's orthodox, it's not the word I'm using, truly founded on Hashem and emunah on Hashem and in Torah, a person can have a relationship that is 1,000-fold better than somebody who doesn't have that. And to say, listen, do you know how different it is? Do you know how special it is when? Do you know how much is appreciated when? It's a special thing. I was once in a taxi in Baltimore as an 11th grader. A Jamaican cab driver. I probably wrote an article about it back in the day. And he told me that one thing he learned from the Jews, said when he was in Jamaica, as a little boy, he said his mother was always reading the Bible. And one day he went to school and someone made a Jew joke. When he came back home, he told his grandmother. His grandmother had this big, thick Bible she would carry everywhere, hardcover. And she started beating him on the head and the back, just beating him up with the Bible.
You repeated the joke to the
He told the grandmother, he didn't know what Jews were. He's in Jamaica. What does he know Jews? But he heard a joke at school. It sounded funny. His mother beat him, you don't speak about the children of God like that. And she was screaming at him. And remember, whenever you see a Jew, bless him. Don't make jokes about him. And they said when he came to America, it was the first time he ever met Jews. He happened to move to Baltimore. And he said, he always learned from the Jews. He said one thing he learned from the Jews, that every Friday they buy their wives flowers. I know Eli does that. I see Eli all the time buying flowers. Yeah, I'm right? Yeah. Even he buys me flowers sometimes. This is a special thing. There's no halakha you have to buy flowers. I mean, she doesn't like flowers. But this idea of, on a weekly basis, not every anniversary, not on Mother's Day, but to really have a relationship that you're always trying to work on, to enhance. He said he saw this in the Jewish world, something he didn't see anywhere else. And that's something special.
Yeah.
To say, listen, the way you're living your life, it's bad for you. I don't need you, but it's bad for you. Uloram mit'almutam, and to stir them from their forgetfulness. He doesn't want to accuse them of being malicious. Look how Rabbeinu Avraham is going out of his way to say that these people who are going against Hashem they're not evil people. They forgot the right path. כמו שלימדונו בעלי המסורת בביאור, הוכח תוכיח את עמיתך. Like our rabbis taught us, the verse of you should surely reprieve your fellow. There's a whole world out there of religious kids that are not kids anymore. Some of them are in their 40s and their 50s that grew up in really Hasidic homes. You could look on YouTube and you'll find people who are drunk and half-dressed and asleep at a bar singing Shabbat songs. Or a group of men and women in their late 30s on a Friday night filming each other but having a Shabbat dinner because they just can't. They're in downtown Tel Aviv. They're no longer religious, but they can't do a Friday night without a Shabbat dinner. Yeah, they're filming it with their iPhones and they're singing Hasidic songs in a Hasidic accent. And you ask them, how far? These people are really far away? Or maybe they just didn't find their place. The generosity that a person can have in Emunah is saying, I'm going to go and get my hands dirty. And show them, listen, there's a way home. So maybe in your house it didn't work out for you. Why don't you come to my house for Shabbat? Why don't you come to my Bet Knesset? Maybe in your Bet Knesset it didn't work out for you, but in my Bet Knesset it's different. Don't be afraid. You're not missionizing. You're bringing back children that are lost to Hashem. It's a generosity that nobody else can do. And it's something that's very special. And I believe the Jewish world in the last years has been waking up to this idea. A lot less anger and resentment. 50 years ago, somebody would sit Shiva on a kid who stopped observing Jewish tradition. Today, Baruch Hashem, we have rabbis and Torah scholars and rebbitzins and people that this is what they do with faithfulness. I'm not talking about the crazy people who run around and they're always crazy people. But those who really understand and want to make a difference and reach out to people who nobody else would reach out to. There are 50,000 Jewish girls in Israel who live with Arabs in Arab villages.
So many.
50,000.
I mean,
Wow. There's one girl who lives in a Bedouin village. They just made a movie about them. I didn't watch it, but then her father's a rabbi and he brings her food every week to her Bedouin village and throws it through the window. And they have organizations, Yad Lachim, they come. You know, very often these girls, they meet some guy in Haifa, in a bar, they ran away from home, and they meet this guy, his name is Yosef. Oh, Yosef, he's so nice, he's studying in the University of Haifa, da-da-da. And she starts dating him, and he's buying her gifts, and takes her walks on the beach, and then one day, you want to meet the parents, and then his name becomes Yusuf, and goes to some village somewhere in the Galil, and before she knows it, she's married and living in some kitchen with her mother-in-law that she's getting beaten by her husband, and now she doesn't know what to do. And they're organizations of ultra-Orthodox Jews, Yad Lachim. Their whole purpose is, if she wants to get out, we'll get her out. It's very dangerous. If she tries to get out and they're not successful, she's dead. And they go in, they have Jews, mostly Sephardic Jews, it's on everyone in the organization, but the Sephardic Jews look like Arabs. Many of them speak Arabic, and they'll go in the middle of the night undercover at a certain point and pick her up and then her children and sneak her out of town and change her name and move her to a different city and put her in a halfway house and reconnect her slowly with her family. And it's a long process, but there are people that they do this for free. If you want to donate to the Kai, you can go. Yad Lachim, it's an organization that's this is their.
They used to come here every year.
I'm sure. And
Raise money.
this organization that really makes a difference. Really makes a difference. These are people, Emunah, they're bringing back lost people home. There's no other word you can say than that. It's not the shame. It's not just about the money. Generosity includes more than that. God willing, we'll talk more about it tomorrow.